So I'm going to do that right now. Again, I'll post the notes in the slides. Welcome, folks. We are so glad you're here. On slide number 6, you can see the agenda for what we're going to go through today. Right now, I'm actively welcoming you all and checking in. And then you can see we have several things that we're going to go through. In general, the goals of these community calls is to get the group of stakeholders in Arizona who are interested in computer science education, expanding access, diversity, and inclusion, and discussing opportunities, making connections, sharing updates on the different initiatives we have going on in the state. So thank y'all for joining us. With that in mind, something that we know is that we're not always on the pulse of everything that's happening in the state. And actually, I will share my screen again just to show how this works. So we have this document over here on the side, which are our community updates, and that takes you to another document that you should be able to edit. And this is, are you able to edit this? Anyone can edit, very nice. This is a document where if there is something going on in your neck of the woods, an event you would like us to be aware of that may not be on our radar, it is an opportunity for you to add it into any of these blank spaces here. And then we add that to our website and send it out in our newsletter. And it's an opportunity to let us know of other things that may be going on in Arizona that we may have not have been on our radar in time for this meeting. So for example, something that made it here is the CS for EL project. And so this could be a good template to look at. If you have other things you would like to add, feel free to do it here. Otherwise, we're going to jump in and start talking about some fun stuff. I'm going to kick us off. My name is Dan. I'm the president of CSTA Arizona. We also have several board members from CSTA Arizona on the call. I see Jesse McKinley here, our K-8 representative. I saw Leon is here as well. Bhavna's here, Jared's here. These are all representatives of our CSTA Arizona board. And we're super excited to sort of be collaborating with a large group of folks on this CSPD Week initiative. So let me tell you a little bit about that. In 2019, over 100 CS educators gathered at Arizona State University for the first ever CSPD Week. And this is a beautiful picture that we took on the steps of Old Main at ASU. There are some great familiar faces in there. You got Sarah down here in the front row and Jesse over there. I'm in there somewhere, like right there, looking great. A truly fantastic event of folks gathering together to get some CS professional development. The following year, we did a pivot to virtual as COVID hit, and over 100 CS educators participated in a series of virtual Summer of CS programs. And we are very excited to announce or discuss or let the cat out of the bag that CSPD Week is returning this summer to Arizona. We are committing to hosting an in-person week of CS professional development, which offers different tracks for different groups of educators to receive high quality CS professional development from folks that we bring in from around the country or from providers and presenters here in Arizona. You can see some logos down there at the bottom. This event currently is supported generously through the Infosys Foundation, through CSTA Arizona, our organization, and the national organization, and in partnership with the Arizona Department of Ed. And so we're coming back. As I said, our goal is hopefully free, high quality PD. We want to get at least 300 K-12 teachers. And hopefully this professional development will help offer computer science at their schools. For high school teachers in high schools, this also aligns with the CS Professional Development Grant offered through the Department of Education. If schools were to apply for that grant, they could use CSPD Week as one way to send teachers to get professional development to then bring CS to their schools. We also hope to provide travel and lodging stipends. We know Arizona is a big state, and we also know that access to CS is not distributed equally across the state. And so to help curb that, we know that it takes energy and money to get teachers from across Arizona down into receive high quality PD. So that's something that we would like to do as well. In addition, hopefully provide stipends to teachers and districts who can commit to these offerings. It was something we were able to do a couple of years ago, and we're looking to do that too. Right now, we are still planning this event, and we also have some needs from the community. So for folks on this call, if you happen to know some folks who might fit into these realms, here are some current needs we have in creating this event. Something that's popped up recently, we need a venue. Arizona State University, it looks like, is not able to host us as they were previously during the time frame we're looking for, which is sort of the end of June. And so if there are any folks who are interested in collaborating with us, potentially hosting this event, please get in touch with us. We have our email address at the end of this, and we can start a conversation in that regard. The other thing that we're looking for are additional sponsors who might be interested in bringing high quality CS providers and trainers to Arizona, and who might be interested in supporting this mission of making this free for Arizona educators. Another opportunity that I think is really interesting here is if there's a certain type of CS professional development you would like to see offered in Arizona, maybe there are ways to support bringing that professional development provider to Arizona. Or if there are certain regions in Arizona that we want to make sure we expand access to, finding ways to support those teachers. So those are a couple other opportunities. And then the other thing that we need is we want to hear from teachers. And so there is a form that we have created that I will also put into the chat. We're going to send this out soon. And it basically just lets teachers show their interest. So give some information about what they're looking for in their professional development, and starts giving us a touch point with any teachers who might be interested in this. And so if you have networks of teachers who you think might be interested in this program, exposing them to this, getting them in touch with us, giving us a key as to some professional development opportunities to consider, could be really great. And so we're going to send this out in our newsletter a little later this week or at the beginning of next week, and that's an opportunity to share this with teachers too. So be on the lookout for more information throughout these calls. These calls are a good touch point to see how this is developing. And then also feel free to get in touch with us at CST Arizona. It's like CSTA Arizona, but not two A's because whatever, if you're interested in supporting this. At the end of each of these little breakouts and moments, we also have a section for sort of notes and questions. If you have a question about anything that you've heard so far, again, these slides are editable, so feel free to type into these slides and type out any questions you have, and I, as the presenter, will come back and add answers to them in this notes section or DM you in the Zoom chat as well. But otherwise, that's my time talking about CSPD week. And with that, I would like to pass it over to our next set of presenters. I believe Amanda and Cal are on the call, who are going to talk to us a little bit about AZ hacks. Cal, I see you've come off mute and video. Would you like me to stop sharing my screen so you can share your screen?
Actually, it'd be easier if you do it.
Great.
So, hi everybody, my name is Cal Manna. I'm the project director for AZ Hacks. Since we're funded by the National Science Foundation, we absolutely had to have an acronym. And so AZ Hacks is Arizona Hubs Advancing Computer Science. And it's running through the Arizona Sci-Tech Institute. That's the home base for this. This is a pilot and feasibility study looking at rural, remote, and tribal K-8 around the state and how to integrate computer science into the curriculum. So if you'll advance it. In addition to me, Amanda is the project coordinator, and Jared is our basically our guru who keeps us on track and keeps us honest. We also have Jeremy Bavender as the PI, and we have a group from ASU who are doing the research component. So there's a research piece to this. And we incorporated a STEM integration specialist from the University of Arizona. Her name is Dr. Blaine Smith. She's been really good with helping our participants in this kind of conceptualize participatory research and how they can use it. So next, please. And I'm going to do it on my side too. See, Amanda?
Hi, so I am Amanda. I am helping and supporting AZ Hacks with through SciTech Institute. So I am a former educator. I taught first, second, and fourth grade. Um, and I am supporting an AZ Hacks. And so just kind of a view into the project. So essentially it's the first of two grants to discover the solutions to our Arizona computer science standards and supporting our educators across Arizona. So what we've tried or have started to do is to really support our rural campuses, our rural schools throughout Arizona, and truly support them through the development of research practitioner partnerships, a mouthful, right? So within these partnerships, we're creating a roadmap that essentially outlines the steps needed specifically for their campus and their rural areas to support them in that computer science programs or their computer computational thinking programs that are going to be dedicated to their campus and to their specific needs. As we all know, our schools around Arizona are very particular in their needs based on demographics, location, size. So essentially we are focusing on that district and school and community and really diving into what exactly they need with computational thinking, computer science standards throughout Arizona.
Next, please, Dan. So
All right.
go on a minute.
Oh, sorry. So we've kind of broken up down our team into two different portions. So we have our AZ Hacks team, and essentially we are supporting our K-8 sites and districts, again, Arizona-wide in those rural areas. So what we are providing and supporting with is that university level research support. And we are providing that basis to what is it exactly they're looking for and what are some things that we should be looking for within that data, especially from the educators themselves. So what are the teachers needing to support in the classrooms? And then at that site and districts level, we're building that support and that capacity around computer science standards and that computational thinking piece. So what is it exactly that campus needs? And every site that we are with are committed to participate for one full school year, and we are meeting once a month with initial meetings that started back in August. Again, we are integrating across the curriculum. So we are truly supporting them within their classrooms with exactly what their needs are going to be with their students.
So this is really a systems view on how to support CS and CT, not just as a pullout, not just as a special, but as an integrated part of the curriculum. We're, just so that you know, that we're working with 5 districts, one in Apache County, that's Vernon. They're all K-8. One in Navajo County, that's the Sequoia Village School. It's a charter up near Sholo. We're working with Palmarine in Cochise County. We're working with Stanfield in Pinal, and we're working with Paloma in southwest Maricopa over by Gila Bend. So those are the 4, mostly one building districts. So you kind of get a view. Anyway, if we go to the next slide, please. We are looking at a number of key outcomes. What we have found is we wanted to start with a strategic plan. So we wanted to involve the staff in visualizing what they needed to do in order to bring CS, and then identify where they wanted to go. So we use the script program. And if you haven't seen it, it was funded, I believe it was funded by NSF through CS for All on the national level. If anybody's interested, we're actually interested in supporting trainers for script here in the state. There aren't any certified trainers for scripts. You can go up to the CS for All website, look up script. Amanda and I have sat through multiple workshops or day-long workshops, really interesting, very well done, and really help people to focus on CS as a tool. So if anybody's interested, can reach out to Amanda or myself. We'd like to put together a training with CS on the national level. Ideally, it's a 7-hour training, just so you know, and it's done virtually. So that's it. So we created a spreadsheet with all the goals. There's 3, 6, 9, 12, and 24-month goals that are part of script, and with the ultimate as conceptualizing how CS will look in the class. Then next slide, please. The second outcome is resource sampling. So what we've been trying to do is create a website that has a visual library. So 3 to 4 minute videos from a variety of different organizations that are providing CSPD or CSP support or computer or computational support. And then that way folks can go at their leisure and look at different things that they might be interested in. That's on the AZ Hacks website. Out on the CSTAC is hosting that. Next, please. The last is the data collection and analysis. One of the things with NSF, as everybody knows, is it supports research. And so data is a huge commodity. One of the things that we wanted to do is shift that a little bit so that the data is owned by the schools and by the teachers, not us. It also helped to relieve some of the data management problems that we didn't really want to have to work with. So this really is a support on what data is, how to do it. This is the participatory research piece, how to manage it, how to analyze it. And that's where we have Dr. Smith helping with this piece specifically. Next, please.
Yeah, I also just want to jump in, coming up on time a little bit, just making sure we have enough time for all the other folks too.
Okay. Yep. We don't have much left. Amanda?
Yeah, so we again are supporting and creating a roadmap. So again, this roadmap is going to be a strategic document with the rural schools that they're going to essentially go through. And again, using that research and data to support what exactly they need. And again, kind of go through that process of how is the program or project that they're going to choose as a rural school to support their computer science and computational thinking, and how is it going to truly support them within their roadmap. So on that next slide, we're going to focus on the issues. What are they? Truly dig into the data and then move into the decision-making process of, and again, truly engaging our educators, because they're the ones that are going to be implementing these decisions with the students, and how are they going to use this, and how can we best support them in that process.
So the next slide is about our partners, and then the next few slides really are just links. Since you're going to get this, we don't have to chat about it too much. We have had some really nice folks reach out with partnerships. So if you'll go to the last slide, which is 27, or the next one, there you go. These are the folks that are really supporting this program. So thanks. If anybody has any questions, welcome to send us a note.
I have a question, or someone wants. I want to clarify something you said, and I want to make sure it gets recorded. So the AZ Hacks is interested in training Arizona educators to be script facilitators. Is that a true statement?
No. So
okay,
it's what we'd like to do is set up a cohort of folks who might be interested in becoming script facilitators. The CS for All folks have really suggested that it not be current teachers, because it works better when you're not in the classroom. So I thought was interesting. That's what the research shows.
great. And so that is that is something that that feels like a valuable opportunity for folks on this call, and especially a way to rally, because when we have more script facilitators, that means there's more opportunities for districts to go through the script process, which means there's more opportunities to bring computer science to their schools. I see lots of nods. I think that's a logical, great. That is very exciting. We're going to move on to the next presenter, but again, I see some folks over here in the questions area. Cal and Amanda, if you want to keep an eye on this area as well and answer some of those questions there, it's a way for us to asynchronously have, you know, a little Q&A as we continue to go on through the presentations. And with that, I would like to pass it off to another person who's been supporting rural and native teachers, Ashish, with the project CoSTEM and Let's Talk Code. Ashish, I see you came off mute. Hello.
Hi, great to meet you all. My name is Ashish Amresh. I'm a research scientist at ASU. My background is computer science. In the past, I was actually a graphics programmer in a game company back in the 90s when we were making the first Star Wars 3D game for LucasArts. And so I have a long history of moving from industry to academia. I moved to ASU and we created a game development certificate program in the early 90s. It's still very successful. It's open to any student at ASU. It's an interdisciplinary certificate program. And since then, I've gone around. I've been a faculty at the ASU Polytechnic campus in the software engineering program. I've been a faculty in Embry-Riddle in Prescott, and during that time, I was actually one of the reviewers for the AZ computer science standards. So if you don't like them, you can blame me for not doing my job. So I've had a history of working in Arizona, and especially computer science education, for a little while. In the last couple of years, I've gotten into the area of trying to improve computer science in tribal Native American regions, specifically at the moment targeting Northern Arizona and Navajo Nation areas. And so we have two projects that I briefly want to introduce. They just started. We are in year one of both these projects, and they are targeting different age groups. And their purposes, though they're similar in nature, there's also quite a lot of distinct separation between the two. So I'll first talk about the project CoSTEM. Both projects, the similarities that we're trying to empower teachers. That's the common ground. However, the project CoSTEM is targeting middle school teachers, and the professional development activities are tailored to try and improve how they can use data science in their classrooms and how they can connect the data science skills to really community-centric problems or issues that are local to the teachers that are participating. So if they're from rural areas, what are some of the issues that they would love to introduce to students in their classroom via data science processes or principles. And so that's the overall goal of CoSTEM. We have a mix of science, math, art teachers. We've been running 2 cohorts a year, and it has been pretty well received so far. What we've been teaching them from a tool standpoint is the Common Online Data Analysis Platform, or CODAP, and that helps build the data visualization and data analysis skills, or at least the technical skills for the teachers to then try and introduce that in their classroom to their students. We are currently looking at building our own widgets as the program matures and teachers come up with ideas of how they would do classroom STEM integration with CODAP. We would like to build specific widgets that sit on top of CODAP that would then get vetted in these Northern Arizona schools. But then once it's been really polished and ready to go, it will be available through the CODAP platform for other teachers across the U.S. to be able to use or modify or adapt that for their middle school classroom. So that's kind of the full cycle of how this program funded by the NSF again through the iTest, or Innovative Technology Experiences for Teachers program. And it's a 3-year program, and we're just in the first year. So the goal by end of 3 years would be a really robust and a strongly skilled middle school STEM teacher workforce that can really be comfortable using data science in their middle school classroom, and a collection of strong, well-refined, polished lesson plans that can be published via Codeorg for use across the US for broader dissemination. So that's the first project, and this is underway. We've just finished our second cohort, and we're learning through the project what works and what not. So it's not a whole lot that I can share in terms of how things are going, but hopefully by summer I may have some actual research or data points to talk about and revisit your group and kind of present based on what we learned by then. The second project is focused on on high school teachers, and this is the project Let's Talk Code. We're really looking at how we can create a professional development program that is, focusing on really applying Navajo or Native American cultural and community-related problems while teaching computer science, or introductory computer science for that matter. So how can we make computer science more relatable to our audience is the big challenge here. So we've chosen Codeorg because there has already been a lot of effort through Codeorg to try and do similar activities. They have a cohort of Native American support group teachers that regularly meet and discuss how to best implement Codeorg in their classrooms. So we're trying to partner closely with that group as well, and also independently through our PDs, bring out new knowledge of how we can really make Codeorg and high school computer science education work in schools. We finished our first cohort last summer, and we're now in our spring getting into our second cohort. Our first cohort was a traditional, week-long PD, back to back, and then it ran pretty much all day during the summer, and it was a very standard traditional PD where we looked at introducing computer science, and then we had working groups of teachers that would suggest strategies of how what they've learned for that particular day could be culturally tailored to work in their classrooms, and then we would create we would try and take those ideas that are coming from those teachers and try and create simple widgets and apps through Codeorg, and explain to them the process of how you could take an idea from infancy to prototype to actually functional use in the classroom. And so it partially worked well. It worked well for those teachers that had more computer science exposure to do the whole end-to-end process. As a result of that PD, we had about 12 teachers who had joined us in the summer. We had 3 teachers who have started to offer computer science as an independent course in their schools, or proposing or started to offer. So it's a good strike rate for us. If we can get as many more, it'd be even better, but that's kind of where we are. We had a few teachers who found it to be more overwhelming, so they couldn't go to the next step. And then we had about 4 teachers who decided to try and implement Codeorg module within their current course, whether it was math or science. This PD, we are kind of changing the structure a little bit to just try different kinds of strategies to see what will work. We're going to do evening sessions in the spring because we don't have the luxury of having a whole week that we have in the summer for teachers to be available. And so we're doing sessions throughout January and February, and that schedule that you shows there. So our first 4 sessions, we're going to actually introduce them to the process of connecting design to code through Codeorg. And then in the middle, we are we're going to work together with them, but the ideas are going to be theirs to try and build a culturally relevant lesson plan that works in their current classroom. So they're not actually teaching a computer science class, but whatever current course that they teach in the spring semester, their role is to do a classroom implementation. And then we'll come back after that is over to do a debriefing and then follow-on activities to discuss how to expand what they have learned in this PD as the next step. And it could be different for every teacher. Some teachers may want to actually propose a new course, may want to change something in their current course. So based on those, the feedback that we get, we will then tailor the interventions going forward after the PD is over. So this is a different way of organizing the PD that we're trying this spring. Again, we're going to have to see how things go. So we're constantly evolving and trying to learn from our experiences to see what works best. At the end of the day, the goal is to try and get as many teachers to get to teaching AP-CSP, in which, in not just that they are empowered to teach it, so that they can, they can be comfortable, but also they are teaching it in a way that the students actually gravitate to computer science and don't feel alienated, right? So that's a dual kind of mission that this project LTC has, and so. Any support, any way you need to partner with us, we're open. Our doors are open, and so I'm really excited to be talking to this group because I think you guys have a lot to offer to us. Again, thank you for giving me the time.
Ashish, thank you so much. I want to ask a clarifying question because I think this is something we'd emailed about. So there's this cohort of teachers, and there are these sessions available. Is the cohort full, or if there are teachers who would like to apply, can they still do that?
We do have, I think, 2 or 3 spots left for Thursday when the cohort begins. So if there are some teachers you think they really want to jump on for this current cohort, we're happy to bring them on. There's some requirements. They have to be in a school where there's a significant percentage of Native American students. They don't have to be on the tribal land, but their school has to be either bordering a tribal region or it has to be in a tribal area. So that is the only stipulation for this particular project, the LTC. Project Co-STEM doesn't have that stipulation, even though we target rural, tribal, urban. We open it up to all middle school teachers, but usually they are from Northern Arizona because the proximity to coming to Flagstaff for the in-person sessions for both these projects makes it convenient for teachers in Northern Arizona.
That's great.
I did forget to mention one thing. We also have in that slides a link to join a working group. This is a working group of people who are just interested in culturally connecting computer science to middle and high school curriculum. So these, we call them community working groups. There is some minimum stipend we pay for your time. If you feel like you have something to offer and you feel like this is something you want to be part of, there is that link can take you to apply for that working group, and we will get in touch with you. So this is not for teachers, or it could be teachers as well, but it's not exclusively at all targeting teachers. It could be folks who are in this area. It could be researchers. It could be community organization members, elders, leaders, things. Anyone who would self-report themselves as a stakeholder for improving computer science in Arizona, especially targeting rural tribal populations, they should, if they have the time, join this working group.
That's excellent. I think this is the perfect group to hear that. Thank you so much for joining us. In the interest of time, we're going to keep going. I have taken some copious notes as this refreshes, if you wanted to look over this and make sure it is well represented. But otherwise, we're going to keep moving along. And I'm excited to pass it over to Beth from the Arizona Science Center, one of the few people who danced along with me at the start of this meeting. Beth, I would love for you to take it away and tell us a little bit more about some opportunities to get integrated with Code.org this summer. Would you like to share your screen, or should I keep sharing my screen?
You know what? You just keep sharing your screen, and I'll just chit chat and tell you when it's time to move on. So thank you, Dan. And yes, if you're going to dance, I'm always going to dance because I like to dance. So Anyway, on this first screen, you can see just a really high-level overview of the state of computer science in Arizona. According to the 2021 State of Computer Science Report, Arizona has more than 14,000 unfilled CS jobs on a monthly basis. So when you look at that number of individuals who have graduated with a degree in computer science, and then also factor in the knowledge that we have about 38% of our high schools that offer a foundational computer science class, it kind of appears that we are going to have a hard time filling these highly paid, skilled jobs within our state. So, you know, really looking at how we need to keep computer science moving forward, we need to keep this thought in our pathway. So next slide, please. So I kind of feel like, you know, on this slide, I'm somewhat teaching to the, or preaching to the choir here. Why teach computer science? Well, we all know that about, 99.9% of all of the occupations now require some level of computer science skills. And a lot of them are fairly high-level computer science skills. And computer science occupations are those best paying, fastest growing sources of new wages within the United States. So that's one reason to prepare our kids for the future. Another reason is looking at the studies that have been done. Computer science, students who utilize computer science and really work with computer science on a regular basis perform better in other subjects, excel at problem solving, and according to a study with Codeorg, are 17% more likely to attend college. Another meta-analysis of more than 440 studies showed that learning computer science improves students' creativity, metacognition, spatial skills, math skills, reasoning skills, and they also demonstrated transfer of their learning to other areas on a greater percentage. Next slide. And of course, computer science is fun. The kids really like it. So there you go. All right, so now really looking next slide at the curriculum that Code.org has to offer. Code.org provides a curriculum pathway from kindergarten through high school that is free to anybody. As the regional partner for Code.org, Arizona Science Center has wonderful facilitators who will provide the professional development needed to teachers to be able to teach that curriculum to their students. And it's especially helpful for those teachers who don't have a computer science background, because it really takes them and walks them through whether it's a CS fundamentals for elementary or the more in-depth CS discovery, CS principles, and CSA. They really walk them through the content and the pedagogy and everything they need to be able to actually teach that curriculum in an equitable manner in their classroom. Next slide. So looking at our CS fundamentals and our CS fundamental deep dives, this curriculum these curriculums are really focused on our kindergarten through 5th grade classrooms. And then we also will use them for some middle schools, especially if you have students in your middle school that have had no experience with computer science in the past. This curriculum, as you can see on this chart, that beginning in kindergarten all the way up through 5th grade, you can see the number of lessons and the content and concepts that are going to be taught within those courses. And all of these courses are aligned to the CSTA computer science standards, which Arizona standards are very closely aligned to. And I've actually gone over winter break, I've gone through and really aligned each one of the courses with the Arizona K-5 standards as well. But at Arizona Science Center, we actually offer monthly CS fundamentals workshops. We kind of go back and forth. Some are virtual, some are in person. And so you can find some information on our website. If we come to your district and your school or your district has 10 participants, we will come provide the training to all of those at your school or district free of charge. If the teachers come just by themselves at the Science Center, there is a $20 charge to help offset some of the cost with the in-person training. Next slide. So looking at our middle school and high school curriculums, we have our CS Discoveries for 6th through 10th grade students. Teachers can teach this, or this can be either a year-long course or it can be a semester-long course. And a lot of schools take the curriculum for CS Discoveries and they split it across different grade levels. CSP, which is for our high school, 9th through 12th grade, is an introductory computer science class. And it can be taught as either just a regular class or it can be taught as an AP, either one. It is a year-long course. And then our brand new Computer Science A, AP-CSA, is a College Board approved. Oh, wait, actually go to the next slide. Oh, wait, no, go back, sorry. Okay, yeah. So AP-CSA is brand new. It's College Board approved. It has, it's been recommended for any high school student who has completed an introductory course, whether it's through their CS Discoveries or their CS Principles. It was really designed around, just like all of our other computer science courses with Codeorg, really looking through that lens of equity and inclusion. And it's really, it's an introductory Java programming course that really is built around bringing in the software engineering concepts and really wanting to make sure that it is bringing in those students who are traditionally underrepresented in STEM. Sorry, I got lost in my words there. If you look on both the CSA as well as the CSP and CSD, those professional developments consist of 5 days in the summer, and those will all be happening during the Arizona CSPD week. And then we have, after the 5 days in the summer, then we have monthly 3-hour sessions spread out throughout the year that gives that just in time, right when you need it, support and continued your learning for the next upcoming lessons. And that 3 hours consist of about an hour and a half of asynchronous work and then about an hour and a half of face-to-face, I say face-to-face Zoom work. And then the AP-CSA also has a 2-day capstone in addition. The cost for all of those is $500 for the either 9 or 11 days of professional development, but we do have limited numbers of full scholarships for individuals who qualify based on the demographics of the school. Our applications for all of those open on January 11th, very soon, next week. All right, and then finally, I want to talk about a couple of new things that Codeorg has. We have our brand new CS Connections, and our CS Connection is a curriculum modules that are structured, that are a series of structured lessons that really integrate that computer science learning into other core areas. So they are aligned to standards across subjects and will culminate in cross-curricular projects. So you can either go through and teach the full, the module with structured lessons in the project, or if you really just want to look at how you can integrate and develop some topic-specific projects, you can just pull out those cross-curricular projects, which take a couple of hours to do. And then, or you could actually just use some of the smaller bridging lessons that are a great way to provide a quick and interesting way to connect computer science and other subjects. They don't require any prior knowledge, and they are just really easy ways to motivate students learning other content. And then finally, we have our CS Journeys, which some of you may be familiar with because it's been out for a little bit. But this is a way to really kind of extend computer science outside of your classroom and really looking at how that you can bring those more real life experiences for your students. So you can have the virtual field trips where your students might be able to go and check out how computer science and technology is being used in NASA, Amazon, Monterey Bay Aquarium, and other places. Also, you could have the opportunity for guest speakers from a diverse group of individuals, really looking at how they got into computer science and exploring different computer science topics. And then finally, we've got the career exploration, where individuals can really kind of start digging in and learning a little bit more about exploration. They've got some videos, interactive tools, and other resources. And next slide. And then if you want to learn any more or register for a workshop, I've got my email there. You can check out the website at the Science Center, or you can use the QR code there that'll take you directly to our website. And I think that is it for me.
I think so too. Thank you so much, Beth. I was taking some notes. I added some extra links. I think it's very exciting. I didn't know that if you go to a district with at least 10 teachers, CS Fundamentals is free. That's very exciting. And then it's great to know like all these offerings that we're going to have over the summer for CSPD week. Very exciting for districts interested in bringing computer science to their schools.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, I know that, like you mentioned earlier about the grant application from ADE for bringing computer science professional development to the district. But if there's anyone who wants to, again, like Dan said, use the Codeorg training as part of that, and you need some support in working on those grants, just let me know. We are happy to help support in that area.
That's great to know. Well, very cool. In the interest of time, we're going to keep moving along because we have, Codeorg is one way to bring computer science in this whole K-12 experience into our schools. But another group that's been like super successful in Arizona has been the TEALS program. And I'm excited we have several TEALS reps on the call right now. I'm not sure who to pass to, Reggie or Carlotta, if either of you want to jump in.
That'll be me. Can I go ahead and share my screen then?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So I am sharing my screen now. Let me make sure we got this one. And I just want to make sure that everybody can see the TEALS program.
We can see your desktop, Carlotta.
Yep, we just lost it. You had it at the beginning.
Okay, let me go back.
All right, good to go.
We're good to go?
Yes.
Awesome. All righty. Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for being here today. My name is Carlotta, and I'll be doing a short introduction in just a little bit, but I wanted to thank everybody because I think it's so super cool to see all the amazing resources that Arizona has been putting together now. It's an amazing toolbox for administrators, for teachers, for students. And so in our little side of the world, what we want to do is we want to make sure that every student has access to CS, and that's where we come in. And so basically TEALS program is a Microsoft philanthropy program in which our job is just to bring CS to anywhere where there's students available. And so today we have myself and Reggie and Dan Stormont on the call. And my name is Carlotta. I'm in El Paso, Texas. I'm actually the regional manager for El Paso, Texas and Southern New Mexico. We also have Reggie. Reggie, did you want to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, so Reggie Carrillo, I'm the new Arizona Regional Manager, and Carlotta is here acting as a huge support for me since I recently transitioned. And now I'm carrying the mantle that Dan has passed on to me, doing great work in Tucson area. And so we're hoping to mimic that work here in the rest of Arizona, in the rest of Phoenix and the rest of Arizona. I'm recently just phased out of being an educator for 8 years, teaching kindergarten, first grade, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade social studies. And I'm also an elected governing board member for the Phoenix metro area. And I mentioned that just to mention how invested I am into the community here and all the work that the SciTech, that ASU, that everyone's doing in terms of the communities that we're trying to help, that Microsoft has hired me on because, again, of my investment in the community and just continue that great work that we're doing here. And just lastly, as we're presenting, I know we're running low on time, I'm going to put my contact information into the chat. So if anyone wants to fill out those contact forms, they can reach out to me while they're listening to our information.
Awesome. Thank you, Reggie. And so as we move on to this presentation today, what I want to do is I want to make sure that, I stick to the time that we have because I know your time is really valuable. But I wanted to kind of just like share my story as we go through the presentation. And then if you have any questions, please reach out to Reggie in Arizona. So first of all, I want to kind of explain to you what the TEALS program is from my point of view. I was a teacher for 16 years. I taught elementary, I taught middle school, and I taught at the high school level in an early college. My forte was Algebra 1, geometry, and I was teaching pre-cal for the local community college. One day my principal comes to me and he says, hey, guess what? We're going to be teaching computer science next year. And I said, that's wonderful. I said, who's teaching it? And he said, well, you are. And immediately I said, well, I'm not certified. I don't know CS and I can't do this on my own. And he said, don't worry about it. Teals is in town. And I said, great, who's Teals? And that's how I was introduced to Teals. And basically what I want to point out about Teals is that we are conveners of experts. We bring the CS experts that are volunteers in the industry, and we bring teachers that are actually willing to learn CS, but might not have the time to be able to do staff development on their own, or just feel comfortable enough to be able to do the staff development and then teach it. And so that was me. And so basically what ended up happening is I was paired with 4 industry volunteers. My volunteers were not in El Paso because we just didn't have the landscape for CS in El Paso. You know, as Beth was pointing out, there's so much need, but we just don't have the skills for CS in the regions that we have. And so what we ended up doing is Teals came to El Paso, and as you can see now on this map, El Paso now has a total of 28 schools after 5 years being in El Paso that we actually support. We support anywhere from intro to CS all the way to the CSA. And so it's super cool to be able to see, you know, what it is that we're located. Teals has been around for now at this point 12 years, and we are in over 28 states in the US, BC, Canada, and now Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. And so we're super excited, you know, that wherever there's students that we can actually go. In the map, you can also see Arizona. You'll see those dots over towards the Tucson side, and that's where Dan Stormont was actually doing the majority of his work. And it's super cool to have Dan here today, because what we're trying to do now is we're trying to bring that up to Phoenix, because we know that Phoenix has a need for computer science teachers, but you know, we need the computer science teachers to be built somewhere. And so that's what we want to do. And basically, it's super cool to be on this call, because as I see everybody's resources come together, we see that there's different resources for, you know, just to kind of like match the personality of the teacher that's going to use them. Because, you know, if you end up in my spot, like I did, where I just said, hey, well, you know, I don't know how to do this. There's plenty of resources that you can look at now in Arizona that you can say, you know what, this is the one that fits me. And this is the one I want to use, you know, whether you're going to Codeorg or you're going to go into a research piece. What is it that's going to fit your needs so that you actually feel comfortable while you're building your teaching capacity for CS? And that's our job. We would like you all to take a look at the, you know, the numbers that we're presenting, and just look at them from a standpoint of what it is that we're doing in Arizona and how much growth we can actually have in Arizona. The schools that you see here are actually Teal schools, not necessarily all schools that teach CS, but the schools that we support. And we'd love to be able to see these numbers grow, because the more that we can actually build teaching capacity in teachers, the more students they can reach out. And so I want to talk about the way we help. When I actually started teaching CS, I had no CS background. The last time that I remember coding was in high school, you know, a black screen with a C prompt. That was it, computer math class. And so since I didn't have the CS teaching knowledge, I had 4 volunteers come into my classroom at different times. And they were actually teaching, I would say, about 95% of the content. I became a student in my classroom. I was taking notes, I was asking questions, I was turning in projects, which were not always 100 points. And actually, I saw my students, about half of my students learning much, much quicker than I was learning CS, and they were helping me. And I saw about 50% of my students learning much slower, and I was able to help them. So in my classroom, everybody was receiving like modifications and accommodations for that first year of teaching CS, just because I didn't have the knowledge. But my goal was to build that CS program. And so my little story, you know, under the co-teach model, I only had 17 students in that first intro to CS class. The following year, we actually were able to offer 5 sections of CS, because I really feel that my volunteers taught a good CS class. And because they did that, the students came. And so we went and taught 2 intro CS classes, 2 CSPs, and a CSA. I was able to transition into the lab support model for that second year in teaching intro, because I felt I could teach more of that content on my own. And then I did the co-teach model for the CSA. And so the super cool thing is that we'll meet teachers at where teachers are at as far as the content knowledge that they have and how comfortable they actually feel delivering the lessons. Another thing that I want to point out is the client courses that we support, because, you know, there's where are we going to start? And where is it that we want to end up? So depending on your school's pathway, you know, where is it that you can need the support, and which teachers do you feel that are going to be able to teach this content? So we partner with different curriculum partners because we are not in the business of writing curriculum. We feel there's people out there that are doing a really amazing job in building not only the curriculum, but the platforms needed to be able to deliver this content in a very meaningful and purposeful way. So, just like Ashi was talking about how, let's go to the underrepresented, the underserved. That's what we want to target. Wherever you all feel that there's a greater need is where we want to, be. And so you can start in this teaching journey wherever it is you feel most comfortable. So we do offer Intro to CS. This is a program-wide title, so it could have a different title as far as Arizona standards are concerned. We do offer APCS principles and APCSA, which can be taught as AP courses or not, depending on the school and the students and the teacher needs. And then we also offer computer science topics, which right now the course that we're going to call out is cybersecurity. And so depending on how your school is reaching out to the students and what pathways you want to build, you have different options as to how to do this. Again, comfort level of the teacher is where we want to be at. How comfortable does the teacher feel teaching the course that they want to teach and be able to deliver to their students so that they can build that pathway. We want to be able to build sustainable programs in the high school so that when students from the middle schools come, we can actually help them and meet the needs that they have. If a middle school is already offering CS discoveries, hey, well, maybe we can offer something different at the high school level. If they're not, let's start with an intro. And so those are conversations we'll have so that we can see where it is that we can help your school. One of the things I want to point out is that in the school partnership, everybody plays a role. When we bring volunteers to the school, whether they're in person or remote, depending on your school needs, everybody plays a role as far as, hey, let's make sure that we have computers that we need so that students have access to this. Let's talk about internet issues. Let's make sure that all of our volunteers have been cleared through the district. And so we make sure that everybody has what they need. The key ingredient in a high school for a good CS program will be a teacher that's willing to become a CS advocate. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we pair that. We pair a CS advocate teacher, we pair the industry volunteers, and then a staff, your administrator staff that are saying, we're willing to put this together for you all. And so what we do is we do it because we want to make sure that the underrepresented, the underserved population always has a say-so in the solutions that are being developed in using CS. We're not in the business of creating more computer scientists. We're in the business of bringing computer science skills to students so that no matter what career path they choose, they have those skills that are needed to fill those 14,000 jobs that Arizona already has out. And so as we move through this, I want to make sure that Reggie has your information. I have about 45 seconds left. And so if you reach out to Reggie, you reach out to Reggie in two ways. Reggie, you want to talk about him, please?
Yeah, so you can reach out through me through the contact form, which I put there, and I already see we already have someone who filled that out. Again, reach out so we can go over this information. We can provide you more information, implementation guide through my email too at reginald@tilsk12.org. And then you can reach me at my cell 623-999-7784. And we can have those one-to-one meetings. I know we're doing kind of like a general session here, but if you feel like you want to have a one-to-one meeting to see, to Carlos' point, how we can best support your school, let's do it. Our application process is open. So go ahead and we'll talk about that too, and we can set up further time. Thank you.
We did it, Dan.
Thank you so much for fitting it on. I'm sorry that we came down to the wire, but thank you so much for coming and sharing.
No worries.
One of the reasons I feel strongly that this call has value is there's lots of us doing important work and we're not always aware of all the work that we're doing. And so I appreciate y'all ending on this note of, if you'd like to get in touch, here's how to get in touch. And I would like to end the call similarly, inviting other folks. We have those slides at the beginning. If you have made a connection with someone on this slide, you've heard about or on this call, and you've heard about something that's interesting, and you would like to share your contact information either in the chat or on that slide, as a way to say you are inviting folks to get in touch with you for future collaborations. I would invite you to do that. I invite you to share that information and start making contact with all these folks who are doing this work in Arizona. With that said, we will kind of end the call. We're a couple minutes early. Time is valuable. It looks like we don't have any new updates for our community updates, which is good. thank you all for being on a call where like 5 people just talked at you for a long amount of time. Those are not always the best calls, but we appreciate you being here. Hopefully in future ones, we'll have more time to network in smaller groups and things like that. If you are on this call and have something you would like to present in the future, please get in touch with us so we can add you to the agenda. But thank you for spending an evening. Feel free to share any other contact info you'd like. Otherwise, we will sign off and I will stop the recording.